Good morning, Al Ingalls here. I am popping up a share. Where is the link here? Is it here? Here he is. Good morning. Adrenaline is the topic today, and it's been on my mind because of a few things. But first, I had the most amazing conversation with a new member of my networking group, the Outlier Project. His name is Matthias Giraud. He's from France, and I just brought up his Wikipedia page here because he's worth taking a look at. He is known as Super Frenchy. He's a professional skier and base jumper. If you watch some of his videos and see what he's up to, like, it's really, really incredible. But um, he knows a lot about adrenaline, and that is our topic today. So he and I can't wait to talk to him again because we just kind of touched on the subject, and he was fascinated by what I have discovered and researched, and I was really fascinated by how he does his jumping and how he prepares to be right in what I refer to as the sweet spot of the athletic heart rate. And so it's this source, and then I want to share one more thing here. Let's see. Oh, that's me. Um, where is the other thing I wanted to share with you? Here she is. So I am at the Miss New Hampshire pageant, and this is my client, Amy Cohen. She won a scholarship first night out of the gate. Um, so she's on her way. I mean, a scholarship pageant, that is really what these young women are aiming for with all of their service and their leadership and everything that they do in these pageants. And so she won one for her STEM work. Um, when I met Amy, she was working on a paper. She was 19 at Plymouth State University, and it actually got published in a medical journal. It was so impactful. So starting with those two shares, let's dive into adrenaline for a moment. So last night at the pageant, there was a pianist. I was so excited to see a real piano come out on stage because most of the music was all electric with a mic and singing. There was nothing natural until the pianist came out on stage. And I thought it was interesting how they had her, like, while the lights were still dim, come and sit at the keyboard. Then the lights came on because lighting can definitely be a thing that triggers people. The lights either going down or up, or um, I've known this as a performer. Sometimes it's so black, like you can't see the audience, which is a little odd when you're performing. You can't see faces and make a connection to audience because the lights coming at you are so bright. Anyway, she's at the piano. She starts her piece, and it's obvious that she's repeating the beginning of the piece like over and over and over. And I mean, it's so common that you will begin and have a complete mental break and not remember your piece. And you could see her working this out. Like, she just kept repeating, and bravo to her for not stopping, or brava. She just kept going. And then finally it came in, and then she continued. She had a couple other little breaks happen. But she continued and she finished, which is, I mean, think about it. She's probably rehearsed that piece hundreds of times, played it beautifully with no incidents, no issues. But once we trigger too much of the fight or flight stress hormones, first flood being that adrenaline flood, the hippocampus shuts down. So no matter how hard we've worked, no matter how much we've practiced and how much we've memorized, she could know this piece for 30 years. She's not that young, old, but she could know it for years and still have a break. I was just playing New Year's Eve one night, playing a piece, and I had that happen. And it's so uncomfortable. And that's why, like, practicing not releasing stress hormones, not during performances, but actually throughout your entire day, is the thing that builds a discipline, an ability. So when the really big moments come, you have all sorts of tools in your arsenal. I call it the tool belt. You've got your tool belt on, and you can execute and use these tools in the moment when you start to feel that tension come in. you could see her, and I was sitting pretty far back. But you could see how her body went totally rigid, like so rigid, because when she realized, like, I guess she can't pull it up. She can't remember it. It's so hard. So when I was talking to Matthias, um, he was deeply into the fact that he studies his mountains sometimes for years. The cliff face, like all the things. He's going to basically jump off a cliff with a parachute thing. It's crazy what he does. So he skis this unbelievable thing, then jumps off, and then he has to land and ski some more. So he studies these mountains literally for years before he even attempts. And then he does some trial runs and then he films. And it's it's uh it's what he talked about was how studying the hill, studying it all, visualizing. He visualizes so much before the skis even move. And my daughter-in-law, Emma Woodhouse, if you follow her, she's a mental performance coach. I She found me, well, we were in a leadership group together, and she came in and worked in my program. And she has her own coaching program, which is phenomenal. She works mostly with skiers, but sometimes other athletes, but mostly with skiers. And she talks so much about the visualization of the hill. And so visualization, I would add into visualization if you do it, if you visualize things, I would add into the visualization the tools of pressure free. So before, even the night before, you're doing something like you're visualizing, like your abs have relaxed, you're like all the things you need to do to keep your heart rate low. So that adrenaline flood is going to go out when this stimulus happens, and it could just be the lights, like I mentioned, on a stage. It could be someone's tone of voice or the way they introduce you. It could be so many little things that will cause you to release these hormones. And so when you can already be prepared and in your visualization, I've relaxed my eyes, I have a little smile on my face, and um I'm going to call him Super Frenchy. When he skis, he actually puts a little smile on his face, like even if it's a grimace, like he puts a little smile on his face. And I said, "Oh, that's a neuroscience trick," and he didn't know that. Like it's like so cool that he does that. So relaxing those abs, a little smile, open up your chest because you want to go like this in fight or flight. You want to protect and tighten. And you want to tighten your throat too. So if you're a singer, that's like so hard. There were a lot of singers last night in the pageant. And you could tell quality of voice, like who had their voice like really open and their chest really open, and who didn't, like who was shutting up a little bit and tensing up a little bit. My heart just goes out to every single one of these young women, because it is an intense competition, I will tell you. I was in a pageant, and like they actually have, it's the 80th year of the Miss New Hampshire pageant, so they have the past Miss New Hampshires are giving awards and speaking, and reflecting how, yeah, back in our day, there was nothing fancy. We were lucky if there was a spotlight. Like there was nothing fancy. And now there's just like it's a big show. Um, so all of those little things. So in your daily life, what are your little things? What are those little things that can trigger fight or flight for you? I often talk about sounds, smells, how things feel, the weather. Um, it was raining here a little bit. It's kind of cloudy. I'm gonna go out for a nice walk. I don't know if you can see the lake. The lake's out there. So I'm in a little house behind another house. It's like the little guest house of the lake house, um, for a few days here. And on the southern lake, so it's very populated. I was gonna do my live and walk around, but like it's completely quiet out here. I don't want to wake anybody up, and the roads and houses are pretty close together. So I do my live here, and then I'm gonna go for my walk around the lake here. Um, Let's see, what else can I share about this for you? Oh, I think that some people think that adrenaline is good. Like you'll hear coaches like Tony Robbins will want to pump up your adrenaline, like rah, rah, just really get into it. Um, and my suggestion is, because if you just take a look at the people who pump up the adrenaline, just take a look at his skin quality, number one. Like, take a look at him and ask yourself, is that what I want? Like, um, here's what I've noticed. And again, it's basic science, the biology of the stress response. Every time you release too big of a flood of adrenaline, you literally wear down the inside of your body, your thyroid gland, your adrenal glands. Like, and now they have to take all these drugs and all these potions because they've literally wearing everything out. Your liver's over here. Um, your heart, if you are continually triggering the stress response and too much of these floods of hormones, too much adrenaline, noradrenaline, dopamine is releasing from the middle of your adrenal glands are going to get really tired. Um, and also, if you continue in that state, you start pulling glycogen from your heart and from your liver. This is really big if you're a marathoner, you do triathlons, um, you do a lot you're extremely active in your sport, like you're really committed to sport, using your body a ton, it's really important that you don't trigger the stress response when you're doing all these activities because you'll start to pull glycogen from your heart and liver, and that's why you'll see um, heart attacks happen during marathons or even deaths. My middle son and husband were right at the finish line for the Brooklyn half marathon, just half marathon, right? And a fellow passed away like right in front of them. And he's a psychologist, 30 in his 30s. And so all of that can really take a toll. You need to really understand and know your body and know what things feel and know when you need to rest, know when you need to stop. I think that we sometimes have this disconnect, like here's the head and here's the body, and we don't listen to signs. Um, I would listen to my signs before pressure free. I'm very body aware, but I also, because I had certain conditions like the eczema on my fingers, I had them for so long. Like, look at that hand. I just can't believe it's my hand. Every time and every morning I touch the skin on these fingers and I can't believe they're mine because I went so long with nasty open wounds on my hands. And so I had that, and that's certainly a clue that something's wrong. But I didn't think I was an overly stressed person. I thought I handled my stress really well. I went to a lot of people like that. They'll say, no, I handle my stress well, or I manage my stress well. And I've really come to reflect that that's not how it works. Like that's not really how it works. What we really need to manage is the release of these hormones. So the stressors and challenges and pressures are coming. Are we releasing these hormones or not? That's really the key question. Not have your stressful day and then relax, take care of yourself, eat well, exercise, pray, meditate. That's what I thought. That's the paradigm I lived under, my parents lived under. Like you do your tough day. My dad was a bank president. She was board president of everything volunteer under the sun and we were a very high performing family doing a lot of things and you can do that, but the question is, are you releasing stress hormones? Stop the stress hormones and you can actually do more, which is very exciting to me. I can do more now than I did before, and I did a ton. Like I think about my grad years. I'm kind of going back in time, by the way, because I just met a fellow. He's the father of the um, boyfriend of my client, and he was in school 4 years. He's 4 years younger, but his older brother was a year older than I am. And anyway, I was like going back in time to Concord, New Hampshire, and friends and family, and they brought up a name. I go, oh, one of my best friends married him, and just kind of fun. But going back in time, I think about my grad school years. I was doing a master's in conducting, MBA, so two master's programs at the same time. Um, I was doing two part-time jobs for the Ann Arbor Symphony. I was orchestra manager and I was assistant conductor. I somehow embroidered like 100 little tulips on my wedding dress that I made from a pattern that's historical from 1913, I think it was, from the Ball Museum in Muncie, Indiana. And I'm embroidering these little tulips all over these little strips of German cotton. It's crazy. And if people came up to me and said, "Oh, will you," or Pamela, because that was my name then, Pamela, will you conduct on my recital? I need a conductor. Sure. I'm the first to raise my hand. Absolutely. Will you play on my recital? Absolutely. I played for composers recitals. I conducted composer recitals, so brand new pieces of music where I really had to like learn the music really well because it wasn't a familiar piece. There's no recordings. Like we're creating it in the moment. Um, I would say yes to everything. And I just seem to have like this really broad bandwidth. Most of my clients do, by the way, have a really broad bandwidth. My client, Amy Cohen, who's in the pageant, she did four sports at Plymouth State College, or Plymouth State University, as it's known now. That's my grandmother's alma mater. Um, so for sports, she wrote a paper that's in this medical journal. She graduated a year early. She graduated, I mean, it's just like incredible um, bandwidth, you know. She's an equestrian and she does pageants. Like that's a ton. She works a full-time job now and does all these things. She's the youngest person working for the United States, for the federal government in New Hampshire. I guess it's really incredible. Um, and so that tends to be the people that like to come to work with me because they want to do more, but they don't want to be stressed and they don't want to be hurting themselves. So, if you know someone like that, like they're just kind of burning the candle on both ends. Maybe they are high-powered exec, also a parent, have avocations as well, are the volunteer, the person people go to chair things, they're on boards. Like that is really someone that I love working with. Um, because they're already serving so much. They're serving a corporation, or maybe they have their own business. They're serving their family. They're serving the community. One of my clients who was a nonprofit exec, when she finished my program, by the way, she was so skeptical. She goes, "My life has so much stress. I don't know if you can help me." And you'll see her in my website. You'll see her on the back of my books too. She said, you've helped me become a better mother for my daughter, a better boss for my staff, and a better person for the world." And I just thought that was so beautiful, um, that she recognized how she was showing up differently, to be better for her, not just herself, but for everyone she serves. All right, I've gone a little long here, but I guess you can see I'm a little excited. I'm in the sweet spot of my athletic heart rate. So I go out for my walk and also think about adrenaline, about my new friend, Super Frenchie, and this pageant that we still have 3 more nights to watch. So have a great pressure-free day. Bye.